Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Well, Kelsey Grammer, I know who Kelsey Grammer is. I never watched Frasier. I never watched Cheers. I may have watched a couple episodes of Cheers.
Frasier was good.
I'm just not into sitcoms. I never have been into sitcoms. And there's a reboot of Frasier, which has gotten terrible reviews. It's on Paramount Plus. And Kelsey Grammer is a pretty well-known Republican. This has been talked about forever and ever. So it's not news that he's Republican, but he's also been a Trump guy. And that's very unusual for someone out of Hollywood. You know, these Hollywood Republicans, when's the last time you heard a Hollywood Republican talk about being a Trump supporter? There aren't that many Hollywood Republicans. And after Roseanne got canceled, it's been like a total blackout. So Kelsey Grammer's doing this interview. English guy's interviewing him, and then he asks him about it. And, well, let me play it. It explains itself, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. This is pretty cool stuff.
But the humor is our food, I guess. It's our fuel to continue, and I'll never quit.
I got to ask you about politics before we finish. You mentioned Roseanne early on, who had a great comeback, but also was a Trump supporter. You were, at least you were a Trump supporter. I'm fascinated to know if you still are.
I am, and I'll let that be the end of it.
That was the end of it. Though I have to say, actually, Kelsey Grammer himself was perfectly happy to go on talking about it. The Paramount Plus PR people less happy that he talked about it at some length.
They'll be really thrilled that you mentioned that.
I'm really thrilled. Anyway, they decided that we'd had plenty of time for our interview. But I should stress that he was absolutely perfectly happy to talk about why he supports Donald Trump and still does in the coming election. I should also...
Okay, so this is interesting. The Paramount Plus person stepped in, stopped the whole thing, didn't want him to mention. I have never watched a full episode of the original Frasier. I saw bits and pieces of it maybe when it was on TV. The new reboot, I've seen the previews for it. We have Paramount Plus. No plans on ever watching it. It's gotten awful reviews. And now I think I'm interested in watching it, Kathy. I just because even if it's bad,
you got to give him credit for unapologetically.
I'm going to watch it,
saying that he supports Trump. And if more people did that, it'd be, no
doubt. Yeah, and even though I do not care for sitcoms at all, I have zero interest in Frasier. The very fact that without hesitation he said he's a Trump guy. I know the Paramount person came in and shut him down. You got to support the guy. I mean, he believe me, Kelsey Grammer, I know he's got a lot of money, but he's promoting this new show, which is getting bad reviews. He still
he's a local guy. He
local
went
to us.
He went to Pinecrest.
Well, he's from Fort Lauderdale.
He went to Pinecrest High School, which is a very fancy private school, very expensive. And so he's a local guy. He's
local to us.
Right. I don't know if he was born here, but he did go to high school in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, and Kelsey Grammer, which is
where Brian and I are from.
The guy interviewing him mentioned Roseanne. Roseanne lost her show, which was a hit show, because of her Trump support. Don't believe all that Valerie Jarrett stuff. That was just an excuse.
So did Tim Allen. He didn't lose his show, but it got canceled off ABC.
Because of the same thing.
And then it got picked up by another network, the Last Man Standing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was on ABC for about 5 years when that happened, so they used that as an excuse, but it was a top-rated show, and Tim Allen, everybody loves Tim Allen. And his show got canceled off ABC because of his support
and I promise
for President Trump.
Kelsey Grammer knows both Roseanne and Tim Allen, and they probably have talked in private about this stuff, and he still said it. So you got to give the guy credit. So if you got Paramount Plus, I'd support Frasier here, support Kelsey Grammer.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I have no interest in it, but I am going to watch at least the first 2 episodes just to support Kelsey Grammer, because that's a big risk to do that. You can get totally canceled by these Hollywood lunatics, and they're doing that. Now, there's one other celebrity story that I want to mention. We don't normally talk about celebrities, but Jamie Foxx talked about something that I think is pretty relevant to this audience, and I read the headline. Jamie Foxx revealed that he saw a tunnel during a near-death experience, and I want to read through this because this is absolutely amazing. Let me just read the story. This is being widely reported. This is the version I'm reading is in the Daily Mail. Emotional Jamie Foxx revealed he saw the tunnel but not the light as he opened up about his near-death experience for his first public appearance since his shock health scare at the Critics' Choice Association's event Monday evening. The 55-year-old actor who was also attending his first event since being accused of sexual assault, was visibly moved as he accepted this Vanguard Award, whatever that is, in a 12-minute speech at the celebration of cinema and television honoring Black, Latino, AAPI achievements.
It's Asian Pacific
Islander in Los Angeles. Fox admitted that he could not walk 6 months earlier, though he refrained from revealing too many details about the medical crisis that put him in the hospital. I haven't seen anyone say what it was. And then he went on to say, he says this, it's crazy. I couldn't do that 6 months ago, he said, after strutting across the stage to the microphone. I couldn't actually walk. I want to thank everybody. I've been through something. I've been through some things, he said. Everyone applauded. He says, I cherish every single minute now. It's different, he continued. I wouldn't wish what I went through on my worst enemy because it's tough when it's almost over, when you see the tunnel. Then he said this. Listen to this. This is Jamie Foxx. He said, I saw the tunnel. I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel too. I don't know where I was. Then he said the S word. He says, am I going to the right place? And then
he said something about the devil.
Yeah. In his 12-minute speech, he made light of some of the theories about his health. I don't see anything here about the devil, though, in this. They didn't say.
Yeah, he said, then the devil says, come on.
Oh, my goodness. Really?
So I don't know if that really happened or if he was just making light of it.
No, I don't think he was. They're trying to.
He did say that. I read it in another article.
The media are trying to spin this as he was joking around because he kind of laughed at the end. I don't think so. I think Jamie Foxx had a true near-death experience, and he saw that he was not going to the good place.
You
he was
think
going
he
to
did
the bad
have a
place.
true?
Yeah, I do. I don't think, he's been through so much. I don't think he would make light of that. I think when he was talking about it, maybe he had second thoughts about talking about it and then try to kind of turn it into a joke at the end. But I think he was as serious as a heart attack.
Maybe. And
if I were Jamie Foxx, I would quit everything I was doing. And I would dedicate myself to Jesus hardcore 150% of my time.
Absolutely.
If I was in the wrong tunnel.
No doubt.
I mean, that's a really scary thing. And the media, I wish the media, the little bit of media that are covering this are making such light of it because they're atheists in the media.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make any sense to them, and they think it's fairy tales. And of course, he's joking. I don't think he's joking. That is way out of left field. I'm not going to get into too many details, but I many years ago, I have talked a little bit about I was attacked. When you're in this business, you get weirdo listeners, and I was attacked by someone. And
this was before you and I even met.
Yes, before Kathy and I were married, and so it's been a long time ago. So we've been, we had our 27th wedding anniversary over the weekend. So it was before that. So it's been a long time ago. But I was near death. The person almost killed me. And I've told this to Kathy many times. I didn't see any tunnels or anything, but I did have a sensation of leaving my body, okay, and being an observer of what was happening instead of actually being a part of the action.
You like floating?
I don't know about floating. I could see what was going on.
Right.
I could see what was going on. And I was at the most peace that I've ever experienced in my life at that moment.
That's a good thing. And
then there were some friends of mine who were nearby who came and stopped it and saved my life. But then of course, I'm here now, but that, I mean, I've told you about that many, many, many times, and it's a pretty real thing, and I know that was real, and I'm pretty positive about Jamie Foxx here, and I hope that he talks more about that, and I hope people that interview him, now that he's out and about again, ask him about that, because he could not only save himself, but he could save a lot of people, and it makes you wonder, because people always have these experiences. Have you heard anybody say that they were going to a hot place? That's the first time I can think of.
I've heard people say that, yeah.
Really?
But nobody famous, But
no one
heard
famous.
People on documentaries and things talk about that.
Really?
That they went to hell and
oh my goodness,
and it was hot and there was a smell of sulfur.
Really?
Oh yeah, and they heard screaming and
oh my goodness,
crying, and it was hell. And I've heard stories of people that when they were down there, they prayed and there was a hand. They all had the same experience. A hand came down and pulled them right out.
Really?
Of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard
any
of
that
those
was
stories.
God because they were praying, "Help me."
Well, I don't know about this claim that's being made against him, but I've not heard about that before. But I'll tell you this: if you're smelling sulfur, you're going in the tunnel and it's hot, you must have done some pretty bad stuff in your life.
It's not really about what you do; it's about your lack of faith. I mean, and it is part. I believe part of it is your behavior too and your actions. I think God looks at all that. But a lot of it is just turning your back on Jesus, and that's really what it's all about. So obviously, that's what he's done.
Well, Jamie Foxx
sold his soul to Hollywood.
Jamie Foxx. I mean, that would be it for me. That would be it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. Now, this is I want to play this clip. This is our great new MAGA Speaker of the House, and then we'll talk about it, okay? Because this is pretty good stuff. Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike Johnson, as Matt Gaetz calls him. Listen to this.
Trust the American people to draw their own conclusions. They should not be dictated by some narrative and accept that as fact. So they can review the tapes themselves. We're going through a methodical process of releasing them as quickly as we can. As you know, we have to blur some of the faces of persons who participated in the events of that day because we don't want them to be retaliated against and to be charged by the DOJ and to have other concerns and problems. So that's a slow process to get it done. We're working steadily on it. We've hired additional personnel to do that, and all of those tapes ultimately at the end will be out so everybody can see them and draw their own conclusion. Let me go.
Okay, now that's pretty interesting. So, Mike Johnson's released a lot of January 6 tapes, and I know that conspiracy theories are going to start to, he's blurring out the feds. I believe Mike Johnson. There was an arrest, a J6 arrest just this week, which was outrageous. It was a guy was arrested by the FBI for 4 misdemeanor charges related to January 6th. He went to the movie premiere of Ben Shapiro's new movie. Okay, Lady Ballers. He left the movie premiere, went back home, and he got arrested by the FBI. He was with his wife, who's pregnant. He's black, his wife is white, and he was charged with 4 misdemeanors, arrested by the FBI. 3 years later, 4 misdemeanors. He did not even go inside the Capitol. Wow. He was arrested for being near the Capitol, and there's video of him. He was showing people the way out. He was getting people out of the Capitol, and he was helping the cops get people out of the Capitol.
Is he in jail or?
He's out because they're misdemeanor charges, but they charged him with 4 misdemeanors. He was just arrested, like at the airport arrest.
That's crazy.
After this Daily Wire premiere. So these deep state people are not done arresting people for January 6th. I'm shocked that this guy got, and with 4 misdemeanors, that's insane. And Mike Johnson there, I like this guy. When Mike Johnson was first being talked about, I didn't know anything about him. I didn't even know his name, but he was familiar to me because I've seen him in the background, and you guys probably have too, but I wasn't familiar with him. I didn't know who he was or anything about him. And he kind of rubbed me the wrong way because his hair was so perfect. And when I see a politician that everything's perfect on them, I start to get, that's a little too polished. But Mike Johnson has done everything he said he would do so far. I think he's doing a darn good job. And there was this interview over the weekend with Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is in a panic that Mike Johnson will be the Speaker of the House in Trump's second term. And that's freaking her. She's like, it can't happen. It can't be allowed. It cannot be allowed.
She's insane. So
when Liz Cheney is having a meltdown over someone, that's good enough reason right there to say, hey, this sounds like a good guy. You know what I mean? Somebody that maybe we should give a chance to. Being Speaker of the House is a difficult thing that he's going through right now. And I also I liked when I heard him say he was supporting George Santos not being tossed out of Congress, and Kevin McCarthy came in behind and screwed that up. But he was even standing behind Santos. And that's not a popular position to do. I will say this, though, about Santos. Saturday Night Live did a skit opening on Saturday Night Live about George Santos, and it was funny. Did you see it?
No.
They had a guy who does a pretty good imitation of George Santos. They were dressed like him. They were wearing like a fancy cape like you would wear like in the 1890s in London or something. Mm-hmm. And he was doing a press conference in front of the Capitol building. And this guy looks and sounds just like George Santos. And he says, I am being oppressed because I am a proud gay thief. And I thought that was pretty funny. I like George Santos, and I stood with him, and Mike Johnson stood with him, but he's out. But Mike Johnson releasing the tapes, like he said, and standing up for George Santos, even though it failed. it shows that this is a guy that we could trust. I want to thank our Patreon supporters. You guys, thanks so much. Those of you that are Patreon supporters, your support does mean a lot. It helps us out a lot. It is greatly appreciated by myself and Kathy. And if you are a Patreon supporter, make sure you take advantage of the perks, including the commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode is available on our Patreon page, exclusively to Patreon supporters. And there's a lot of other things that Kathy and I post there that no one else sees. And we're in communication with our Patreons pretty regularly on the platform and everything else. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Maria in Texas, Richard, David, Heather, and ActicFox. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description. There's also a direct link on my website, BrianCraigShow.com. My name's Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
From author Frank Walters Clark comes an epic journey into the cosmos with the new book, In the Beginning, The Chronicles of Kai, available on Amazon. Join the adventure on the nearby planet of Kai, where Anunnaki heroes make a discovery that could change their world and Nibiru's fate forever, a source of gold critical for atmospheric repairs. Witness the newest generation of Anunnaki kings and half-brother princes as they reluctantly agree to establish gold mining operations on Kai. But as the centuries pass, the Anunnaki miners rebel against their forced labor, giving rise to a new race of beings on Kai. The balance of power teeters on the edge. Skirmishes escalate into wars, spreading from Nibiru to Kai. Then, an ancient, powerful weapon unleashes unimaginable horror upon Kai. This tale of cosmic intrigue from author Frank Walters Clark, In the Beginning, The Chronicles of Kai, is available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Order your copy right now and experience the adventure and timeless wisdom that await inside this must-read book. You can also find more books from the author on the author's website, frankwaltersclark.com. In the Beginning, The Chronicles of Kai, from author Frank Walters Clark on Amazon. This Christmas, give the gift of creativity, imagination, and endless fun with B-Blocks Building Blocks, available on Amazon. B-Blocks Building Blocks isn't just a fun gift, but it's educational too. It's a STEM toy of 500 pieces. That's right, 500 pieces to ignite your little one's creativity. Children will be introduced to a world of colors, shapes, and designs. They'll learn to play and create with 8 vibrant colors. From enhancing fine motor skills to exploring basic geometry and architecture, B-Blocks Building Blocks is fun and a powerful learning tool. And they click securely together, too. They're safe and cool, perfect for boys and girls. And this is a gift they'll cherish for years to come. B-Blocks Building Blocks are available in the B-Blocks store on Amazon. Just search B-Blocks, B-E-B-L-O-X. B-Blocks Building Blocks, because every child deserves the best. Only in the B-Blocks store on Amazon. Order your child's set right now. From author Stephanie Tayo comes a book that takes place in Cornwall, Ontario, where it seems that dreams can come true and life feels uncomplicated. But one young woman's world is about to be forever transformed. Love Beyond Age, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online booksellers. In Love Beyond Age, meet Gwen. She's a determined soul with aspirations of becoming a psychologist. She shares a simple life with her dad, saving every penny for her dreams. But life has a way of throwing unexpected curveballs. Everything changes when she crosses paths with James, whose presence by the river ignites a connection neither can deny. As their university journeys begin, Gwen finds herself torn between her deepening connection with the mysterious James and her growing feelings for her competitive friend Jasper. Secrets are unveiled, revelations come to light, and Gwen discovers a shocking truth about James' hidden secret. As danger lurks on the horizon, relationships are put to the test, and and old emotions resurface. A love triangle takes hold, pushing Quinn to the brink. She faces a choice that will shape her future and define her path. Love Beyond Age from author Stephanie Tayo is a story of love, secrets, and choices that will tug at your heartstrings. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Apple Books, and other online booksellers. Order your copy right now and be transported to a world where romance is intertwined with the complexities of life. Love Beyond Age from author Stephanie Tayo. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. You know, some big stuff's going on against this country with China. Yesterday, a huge group of well-dressed Chinese men were nabbed at the southern border. They were well-dressed. They were all clean, like they'd been showered. They had not just luggage. It was described as smart luggage, which I don't even know what that means, but it's obviously computerized.
I think it's got like USB ports.
Okay.
You know, things you can charge your phone, and your laptop, stuff like that.
Yeah, and they obviously were
something I don't. Of course, I don't travel anywhere.
Well,
but, you know.
these guys, they say they're escaping the communist regime of China. It's BS. They all have like military haircuts. They're obviously coming to America to join up on some spy operation. And President Trump, in one of his speeches over the weekend, even talked about this. He said this because there's been other Chinese that have been caught at the southern border. He says it's like they're forming an army over here.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And I want to play this audio. I found this on Twitter.
I feel like China's cooking up something.
They're cooking up something.
Yep.
Okay, I found this on Twitter today. This guy, he's in Colombia, okay? And he goes to a foreign hotel, and it's all Chinese people there. Listen to this. This is crazy.
In Colombia?
Yeah, well, you got to go through Colombia to get here. It's part of this whole passage. Yeah, this is, listen to this. It's in a Colombian hotel.
So right now we are in Colombia at the Cabañas Rio Mayo Hotel. And this hotel that we stumbled upon by accident is a major hub, a major transit point, meeting place for Chinese foreign nationals that are on their way to the United States. And last night when we were here, we were eating.
Now I want to tell you this. China to the United States, Colombia is way the heck out of the way between China and the United States. So there's a strange reason for this. All right, let's go back to it.
This hotel restaurant, and we were the only foreigners that were not Chinese. I mean, literally the entire hotel is just Chinese foreigners. We spoke with the hotel staff here, and they confirmed that. And while there are some women and children, it's mostly military-aged males. There's some right behind me right now, actually. We showed you in a previous video of ours a Chinese blueprint that's distributed amongst Chinese in WhatsApp groups, and this is actually one of the stops on the blueprint.
Okay, now you can find this. There's video to this too, not just audio. On Twitter, just search for Real Muckraker on Twitter.
As to stop in Pasto. That's where we're at right now. We're on the outskirts of Pasto. And the point is that the Chinese have very sophisticated, quote-unquote, migration networks all the way up to the U.S. border. And this hotel that we're at is proof of that. It's all Chinese, and for some reason they all know to come here. It's because they are in direct communication. People that are further up the trail or that have made it to the United States are telling people that are on their way, hey, this is a hotel that's safe for you. We also found we were staying at this hotel, they're expecting Chinese. You can see a lot of the writings, a lot of the signs in this hotel are written in Chinese. Again, this is further proof that
there's so much going on that we don't know about.
It's not just some sort of one-off occasion that there's all of these Chinese nationals here at this point. This is a known hub, a known meeting place for Chinese that are in transit on their way to the United States. We spoke with a Chinese national who's staying here right now, who's going to be trekking through the Darien Gap and going up to the United States. His destination is either New York or Los Angeles, and he told us that there are definitively Chinese spies in the United States. Are the Chinese police in the United States?
He's afraid to answer.
Yeah. Are you worried that the Chinese police can find you in the United States?
They're translating. That's what the pauses, the translator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. 便衣警察.
So so this guy's the pauses, they're using a translator app.
Yeah.
And so there's a major Chinese military intelligence operation going on infiltrating the United States. And what's going on here? I mean, and I'm finding this on Twitter. Our intelligence agencies got to know about this. Is our government so compromised and taken over by China that no one's doing anything about it?
I mean, it seems so, and people are just turning a blind eye to it.
I don't know, Kathy.
Scary.
That's beyond scary.
There's things going on that we have no idea what's really happening. We can guess, we can try to figure it out, but I think there's just things that would really shock people if they'd probably be so bad people wouldn't even want to believe it.
Well,
but I think there's definitely a systematic overtaking of America by China. They're just doing it in a very different way. They're not doing it the way they used to do it, where they just, with the old way of fighting a country. This is a totally different type of Cold War.
There's something
that's
going
happening
on
all fronts.
Yeah.
And the leaders are letting it happen. They're either ignoring it, being paid off, or just, don't want in complete denial. Or just don't believe it at all,
Yeah.
But it is scary.
There's a major Chinese operation going on against this country right now, and I
absolutely,
and I really feel like it's like post, after 9/11, they all these terrible things happened, obviously on 9/11, and people said, well, there were all these signs, like the guys going to the flight school, and they only wanted to learn how to take off. They didn't want to learn how to land the planes. Remember all that stuff? And there's all these signs going on.
Yep.
And where's Homeland Security?
Doing nothing.
They're arresting people at Ben Shapiro's movie premiere. They're arresting MAGA people. That's where they're at, not the CCP. Now, Ron DeSantis has been completely dropped by the establishment. I don't know how he's hanging into this race. He must have a sugar daddy or something that's funding the little bit of his campaign that's left. And they're all behind Nikki Haley now. And a lot of people are like, okay, I like Nikki Haley. I like Nikki. I don't know. It's hard for me to understand. I want to play this and then ask yourself, do you really like Nikki Haley?
Madam Ambassador, another question is what care should be on the table when a 12-year-old child in this country, assigned female at birth, says, actually, I feel more comfortable living as a boy? What should the law allow the response to be?
Well, I think the law should stay out of it, and I think parents should handle it.
Okay, so Nikki Haley is saying that 12-year-olds should be able to get sex change operations. There's no scenario, even with parental consent, that a 12-year-old should have irreversible surgery.
I agree. I think that's child abuse. No doubt about it. I mean, I think parents should go to jail for allowing that kind of thing to happen.
But Nikki Haley thinks it's okay.
No, that's crazy.
That type of thing, no one should be performing that type of procedure on anyone under the age of 30.
Yeah, the doctors, they should all be in prison for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. Well,
but these surgeries are big money.
Yeah.
These hospitals that do it.
That's right.
And I don't even know if it's covered by insurance. Maybe it is sometimes, but it's big money plus the follow-up care, hormones, and everything. You're talking a whole lifetime of treatment here that goes into these things to be maintained.
And it's permanent. It's irreversible. It's irreversible. And Nikki Haley is supporting it with 12-year-old children.
Awful.
12-year-old children. So, if Ron DeSantis and these others don't go after her on that at this next ridiculous debate, you'll know they're all on the same team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we all know that.
Yeah, there's not been one thing about Nikki Haley that I think has been a positive about her. Just like DeSantis, both of them, every time you learn something about them, it's bad. Nikki Haley and DeSantis.
Yeah.
The other ones aren't really players, but those two.
Chris Christie, he's
a joke.
He's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
he said Trump won't be able to vote for himself because he'll be in jail by then. He's such a jerk.
Yeah,
I thought he was his friend, but these people, they're out of money. They're no longer important, and they're selling their soul, and they're selling out their friends to make money. And believe me,
right.
It's
That's
not
right.
good.
Now, I just want to mention this quickly.
They're going to vote on the impeachment inquiry.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Can't wait for that. I just want to mention this
next week,
real quick here. I have never gotten the DNA testing, and I know that's been a kind of a controversial thing, and I've never done it. The reason I've never done the DNA testing, there's two reasons. One reason, and it's a pretty serious reason, is if they have your DNA, they can plant your DNA anywhere. Okay, and I've talked about that a lot, and people think I'm crazy. And these DNA testing companies are deep state front groups, probably CIA, NSA front groups. And if you remember 2 or 3 years ago, 23andMe, it was around Christmas time, they were offering DNA testing for almost free. I mean, it was so cheap. Remember that? And millions and millions of Americans who never would have gotten DNA testing got it through 23andMe because they
I
were.
had mine through Ancestry. Ancestry, I think. And
Yeah,
Emily did too.
Our daughter got it done. Our daughter's adopted, so she wanted to know everything about her background, so she did it. I've not done it. The other reason I've not done it, and that's a serious reason I've not done it, by the way, privacy, and I don't trust that they don't plant your DNA. Or not just it may not be you; it could be your descendants 200 years from now. Once they got it, they got it. And I think all these DNA companies are deep state government front groups, and I don't trust them to have a DNA database of the country. But they do because all our relatives have gotten it, so they might as well have my DNA.
Exactly. I mean, I did it, and I saw my cousin, my dad. I saw a bunch of people. My aunt. A bunch of people had done it.
Everybody's done it.
It's going to link to me. Anyway.
Everybody's done it, and And well, anyway, 23andMe got hacked. Okay, and it's a pretty bad hack. And it says here, genetic testing company 23andMe has admitted that hackers accessed the data of more than 6.9 million people, and over 14,000 profiles have been breached. They say digital spies did this. That's what I was telling you about. Now, who has it?
Right.
China? Now, I don't know. Who has all the DNA? Who got all the DNA data from 23andMe from people? That's right. That's why it's such a bad idea. And nothing could convince me that these DNA companies are not front groups for the deep state. Nothing. They wanted to have a national, it's probably international because these things went international, but they wanted to have a national DNA database. And I know a lot of good has come from it. They got like that Golden State serial killer. Yeah. I know they've gotten serial killers because they've gotten matches on family members. The serial killers don't do it. Their cousins do or their sisters do, and then they get a match. Their kids do it, and then they've nabbed people. That's a good thing. But overall, it's such a violation. And now with this hack, it's one of the worst things people did. It's kind of died off, but they got enough information 2 or 3 years ago when they were giving the test away for like $20 that they don't need anyone else. They got the whole country, even if you didn't get the test, because your relatives got it. It's maybe I'm getting paranoid, but
maybe.
But when I've seen everything that they've done to President Trump since he came down the escalator, that has made me very cautious. And I don't think I'm alone on that. Listen, everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.